All right. Here we go. 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 All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Late for the Party on Anchor FM. I am your host, Melodious, aka Cover Boy, the Modern Marvel. We are going to get into a quickfire review, you guys. We're going to get into that special little something we call the Suicide Squad that came out last Friday, and it's being done by James Gunn, who was known for the first Guardians of the Galaxies, and also he did Brightburn and a couple other films that are relatively cult classics. And I must say, man, like, I am shocked. Like, I don't know. I guess, like, I'm a firm believer of keeping my expectations low so I'm not disappointed. And keep in mind, like, I don't want to be disappointed when it comes down to comic book movies. But as of late, they have been kind of lackluster in general. But so far, so good. I mean, with, like, Justice League, the Snyder Cut was actually pretty good. But then, you know, coming from, like, all the first Suicide Squad one with Will Smith, and then we had the abysmal Bird of Prey. Oh my god, that mess was dog water. But ultimately we get this wonderful gem. And I'm sitting here like, wow, I didn't think it was going to be this good. And it is. It's really good. I mean, considering the fact that for some strange reason, I don't know why, but I feel like James Gunn gives you the ability to care about characters nobody's even dreamt of caring about. Like, he, so far, to me, is like the guy who brings, like, these characters out of obscurity and into the limelight, and you actually give a damn. Like, honestly, nobody cared about nobody cared about Guardians of the Galaxy until the finish, till he put his stamp on it, you know, for some strange reason. Nobody cared about Fire Lord in the comic books, or Gamora, or Drax the Destroyer, or even Groot or Rocket Raccoon. Matter of fact, those weren't the original characters of the Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy, if you think about it. But then we get the Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad with Jared Leto or Will Smith. So basically, this is somewhat of a part two of the original, but it's not. Like, you don't have to watch that in order for you to get what's going on in this one. So if you watch this one, it feels like it doesn't really attach itself to the other one. So, I mean, and it's cool, honestly. Like, you get different characters. Of course, you have returning characters like Rick Flag and Harley Quinn and Amanda Waller, who were from the original one. And then you have new characters like Bloodsport, played by Idris Elba. You got Peacemaker, played by John Cena. I mean, you got a couple of people. You got some pretty good gems up in here. It's pretty good. Sylvester Stallone playing King Shark, which is a trip and dope as hell at the same time. And, like, you get your favorite character. Like, you got characters who you start really caring for. Like who ever thought, like, you give a shit about Polka Dot Man or Ratcatcher 2? So, I mean, that's actually hardcore. And then, like, they give these characters like some driven, like, most of these characters come from tragic stories. So not all of them are like just maniacal villains, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing about comic books in general. Like, sometimes the villains are not even the villains. Like, sometimes they're a victim of circumstances. Sometimes, you know, They just might have had a bad day. Some of them might even be like dictated maniacal fools. But I mean, I'm not trying to get into any spoilers or anything, but movie was great. I think this is probably the best movie I've seen since this has been like probably the one of the best DC movies, like in the current state that it is, like between the Snyder cut version of Justice League and this, it feels like okay, these are actually good. I think since the first Wonder Woman or Aquaman, I want to say. And it's sad because it's like it's a lot of hit and misses. It's on some M Night Shyamalan. I'm not saying the movie's on some M Night Shyamalan shit, but I feel like when it comes down to DC, it feels like DC movies. It's like on some M Night Shyamalan type deals. Like, you get you get a few hits, but then you get a few misses and a few hits and a few misses. So far, it's like Aquaman, Wonder Woman 1, not 84. That shit was dog water too. Then I would say like Justice League Snyder Cut and the Suicide Squad. Like out of that whole continuity, I mean, even in some cases, I give props to Man of Steel as well. I mean, Man of Steel wasn't that bad. It wasn't bad. As a matter of fact, it was relatively entertaining for what a lot of people would expect from a from a uh, from a DC comic book film. I mean, not everything's gonna be all cookie cutter and cut and dry like how most Marvel films have been. So, I mean, and I give props to the Suicide Squad rather than the original because this one's rated R. And I mean, in something in that magnitude, you would have to have it as rated R because of the violence was gruesome, but it wasn't as like gratuitous or, it wasn't over the top. It wasn't that over the top. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were some things that happened in there that was like, whoa, but it wasn't like it. It wasn't like, damn, that was like impossible that person didn't survive. Almost felt like some shit like it was like, damn, like, yeah, that's bad. And like everybody was getting it some way or another. So it was definitely a good film. Idris Elba plays Bloodsport down to the letter. I mean, he plays like the reluctant hero. Like, he doesn't want to lead nobody on anything. John Cena plays Peacemaker very well, very driven when it comes down to being being trying to keep the peace by any means necessary. And then you got you got Polka Dot Man and Ratcatcher 2. Like, you care about some of these characters and what they've been through or what they've gone through, especially like the backstory with Ratcatcher and her father. That was dope as hell. I mean, I was like, damn, that's pretty crazy. I mean, I would have never think like, you're making me give a shit about supervillains, or not even supervillains, like criminals, or not even criminals, just characters who've just been like, been under been swept under the rug. Like, I didn't care about stuff like that in like even the heroes aspect, like, but you care about these characters and they trying to save the world by any means necessary. That's actually dope. And then they, of course, Amanda Waller's doing thing, and I don't know, it's actually dope. I'm trying not to get in any spoilers or anything because honestly, a lot of people need to see this film. It's actually very good. And don't get me wrong, if you're squeamish, be warned. But it's actually a very good film. And it's kind of sad because I know in the box office, it didn't really do so well, but in Rotten Tomatoes and whatnot, they've been giving it good reviews and like the audience has good reviews. But I was going to get into a podcast about how, I was going to do a podcast later about how things are a little different from how you would rate or how you would accumulate a certain percentage between box office and how you would sit down and watching it at home. But either way, I mean, and pretty good. It's very, very good. And I feel like James Gunn has, I think James Gunn to me, and I mean, I want to get into this conversation about what I want to say about how he how he put his finger in this film and how he looks at the source material and actually holds up, like he holds it down with the source material. I mean, everybody felt like they were like in the comic books, even though some of them might have been as obscure as the original characters from the first Suicide Squad. But in this, it felt like, wow, he actually put it down to where like it didn't feel like it was forced because of this, and it felt right. It felt accurate. And unfortunately, a lot of books or a lot of things that books that get turned into adaptations, that get turned into films or anything, it kind of gets skewed somewhere. I mean, the source material gets skewed somewhere along the ways. But either way, I try not to ramble on so much. But either way, I digress from my point. So I'm going to give Suicide Squad a solid 9.5. That was actually very good. I mean, I actually enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Black Widow. And don't get me wrong, Black Widow wasn't bad. But I think there was a lot of things that if you watch Suicide Squad and you watch Black Widow or anything, you can see the difference of like what could have been or what should be done. Damn, I gotta talk about this in another podcast because I don't want to segue too far from what I'm talking about with the Suicide Squad. So, but I'm gonna get off the hook. Just wanted to do a quick fire review on that. So please like, comment, share, subscribe, and support the podcast. You can check out all the cool merch like this, the Late for the Party live t-shirt on on teespring.com, and you could check that out. The link will be in the description on my YouTube channel and on my Instagrams and all that other cheerful stuff. So, like always, you guys, I am your host, Melodious, aka Cover Boy, the Modern Marvel, signing off. And as always, if you're going to be late for the party, turn it up to 11.